Some cases blur the line between a person's dedication to their work and the limit of their own life in a tragic way. There are remarkable stories of artists, journalists, and professionals who literally took their last breath while doing what they loved most. Whether in front of cameras, on a stage, or during a live broadcast, these moments shocked the public and were recorded in everyone's memory. That is exactly what we will see here today. Tiny Tim, stage name of Herbert Boutros Ghali, was an American singer and musician known to this day for his unique rendition of the song Tiptoe Through the Tulips. In September of 1996, during a performance at the Ukulele Hall of Fame Festival in Massachusetts, he suffered a heart attack on stage, fainted in front of the audience, causing panic, but was helped and taken to the hospital for medical care, where they managed to stabilize him. Despite medical recommendations to reduce his activities due to health problems, Tiny Tim continued to perform. On November 30th of 1996, shortly after the first attack, while singing his biggest hit during a charity event in Minneapolis, he suffered another heart attack, this time fatal, on stage, passing away at 64 years old. Tiny Tim's death is considered macabre by some due to the circumstances, since he died while singing his most famous song, which has a melody considered sinister. During what appears to be the awarding of a competition, the winner was celebrating with friends when the host speaking into the microphone fell ill. The images show the winner with his medal and trophy, surrounded by people, and with the host right next to him, speaking into the microphone. The recording goes on for a few moments, and when they are in the middle of the gymnasium, the host simply drops stiff to the floor. After his fall, everyone there is startled and surrounds him to provide aid. The recording ends without a conclusion, but according to some information, the host would have suffered a massive heart attack that led to his death. Meteorologist Elisa Carlson Schwartz suffered a collapse live during the morning newscast on March 18th of 2023. The incident occurred right after she was cued by anchors Nichelle Medina and Rachel Kim to present the weather forecast. Without uttering a word, Elisa rolled her eyes, leaned forward, and fainted, falling onto the studio desk. The anchors, visibly alarmed, interrupted the broadcast and called for a commercial break. Immediately after the occurrence, Elisa was taken to the hospital, where she was diagnosed with a head injury. She reassured viewers through her social networks, informing that she was recovering well and thanking everyone for the messages of support. This was not Elisa's first health incident during a live broadcast. In 2014, while working at another station, she vomited in the studio and was later diagnosed with a leaking heart valve. However, after the episode in 2023, Elisa clarified that the fainting was not related to the previous heart problem, but rather to a vasovagal syncope triggered by factors such as dehydration and stress. Flavio Cavalcanti, one of the most influential and controversial presenters on Brazilian television, passed away on May 26 of 1986 at 63 years old after suffering a sudden illness while hosting his show on SBT. On May 22nd of 1986, during the live broadcast of the program of Flavio Cavalcanti, the presenter felt unwell after a musical performance he considered unsatisfactory. He joked, saying, "That's why I'm feeling sick," and then made his characteristic gesture of pointing his index finger upward, saying his catchphrase, "Our commercials, please." After the break, Flavio did not return, being replaced by Wagner Montes, who informed that the presenter would be back on the next show, which unfortunately did not happen.
Eu não me encontro bem de saúde e estou pensando em deixar a televisão. Eu estou em ponto de ter estresse muito violento.
Flavio Cavalcanti was taken to the Unicor Hospital in Sao Paulo, Brazil, where he was diagnosed with acute myocardial ischemia. After 4 days of hospitalization, he improved and even left the intensive care unit. However, he suffered an irreversible cardiac arrest and died on May 26 of 1986. Sergio Denis, stage name of Hector Omar Hoffmann Fenzel, was an Argentine singer and songwriter, born on March 16th of 1949 in Coronel Suarez, Argentina. Known for his romantic ballads and charismatic stage presence, Denis won a vast fan base throughout his career. On March 11th of 2019, during a performance at the Teatro Mercedes Sosa in San Miguel de Tucumán, Argentina, Sergio Denis suffered a serious fall. While performing the song Te llamo para despedirme, he approached the edge of the stage and, inadvertently, inadvertently fell into an orchestra pit approximately 3 meters deep. The accident was recorded on video by audience members present at the event. After the fall, Dennis was immediately assisted and taken to Angel C. Padilla Hospital, where he was diagnosed with severe head trauma, hemorrhages, and multiple fractures. Despite medical efforts, he remained in a coma until his death on May 15th of 2020 at 71 years old. Sergio Denis's death was a significant blow to Argentine music, and his absence is felt by many. His career, marked by hits such as Te Quiero Tanto and La Vida Vale la Pena, left a lasting legacy on the musical scene of Latin America. Luis Eduardo Guayo Aso Bojorquez, a high school teacher and also an amateur musician from Magdalena de Quino in the state of Sonora, suffered a fatal event while singing during the Feast of St. Francis. According to reports, the incident occurred on September 13th of 2025 when Guayo was performing the classic song A Mi Manera on stage, accompanied by local musicians. In a video circulating on social networks, he appears approaching a keyboard, leaning on it, and moments later, he bends as if losing strength until he collapses into the arms of fellow musicians who were on stage. Paramedics were called, but upon arriving at the scene, they confirmed that he had already passed away. The statement from the City Hall of Magdalena de Quino indicated that he already had a history of heart problems and was about to undergo surgery. The news caused distress in the local community, especially among students, colleagues, and neighbors who remembered him as a dedicated educator and music enthusiast. In March of 2009, an unusual incident occurred during the morning show on WMBB-TV, an American broadcasting company affiliate in Panama City, Florida. Nikki Allen, director of operations for the women's volleyball program at the University of Southern California, was being interviewed live by Wayne Gentry when she suddenly fainted after saying only a few words. Allen had traveled early in the morning from Los Angeles to take part in the interview and was visibly nervous, which may have contributed to the incident. After the fainting, she was promptly attended to and recovered without major complications.
Any college.
Oh, I'm afraid Nikki has fainted. I'm afraid.
The moment was recorded on video and quickly spread across the internet, becoming viral. The WMBB channel itself posted the video on YouTube, which amassed hundreds of thousands of views in a few days. In the early hours of April 8th of 2025, the Dominican Republic was shaken by a tragedy at the Jet Set Club in Santo Domingo when the nightclub's roof collapsed during a live performance by renowned merengue singer Ruby Perez. The accident resulted in the deaths of at least 236 people and left more than 180 injured, becoming one of the country's largest non-natural tragedies. Ruby Perez, known as the loudest voice of merengue, was on stage at the moment of the collapse. Witnesses reported that he was singing the song Color de Rosa when the roof gave way. After the incident, he was found alive, but was trapped under the rubble for several hours before being rescued. Unfortunately, Perez did not survive his injuries and died at the scene. Videos recorded by people who were in the nightclub at the time of the show showed the moment of the collapse. Among the victims were also public figures known in the country. The collapse occurred during a traditional merengazo event, bringing together politicians, artists, and citizens. The Jet Set Club, inaugurated in 1973 and turned into a nightclub in 1994, had previously faced structural problems, including a fire in 2023. The causes of the collapse are still being investigated by Dominican authorities. Pastor Sergio Carvino, 47 years old, died on May 31st of 2025 during a sermon broadcast live at the Igreja Pentecostal Deus e Amor in Caxias do Sul, Brazil. A native of Turvo, Santa Catarina, Brazil, he was sharing a personal experience about his father, also a pastor, when he knelt behind the pulpit and fainted. Worshippers present, including a student in a technical nursing course and a nurse, provided first aid until the mobile emergency service arrived, but he did not survive. The video of the moment of his fainting and the aid began to be shared on the internet. The cause of death has not yet been officially confirmed by authorities, but a heart attack or cardiac arrest is suspected. Sergio Carvino was known for his dedication to the ministry and Christian music. Silvio Luiz, one of Brazil's most iconic sportscasters, fell ill during the broadcast of the São Paulo State Championship Final on April 7th of 2024, had to leave the play-by-play, and was admitted to the Oswaldo Cruz Hospital in São Paulo, Brazil. He remained hospitalized for a few weeks, having been discharged on April 30th after initial recovery. However, on May 8th, he was hospitalized again, this time in a more serious condition, being sedated, intubated, placed in an induced coma, and transferred to the intensive care unit. Medical notes released by hospitals stated that he was under assisted ventilation and that there was no forecast for leaving the intensive care unit. It was also reported that he could not undergo hemodialysis due to his frailty and compromised kidney condition. Over time, his health worsened, culminating in his death on the morning of May 16th of 2024 due to multiple organ failure, according to the hospital's official statement.
Quero nem ver, falta.
His advanced age of 89 years was pointed out as a factor that hindered more aggressive interventions and full recovery. The character Fred G. Sanford, from the series Sanford and Son, played by Red Fox, had a recurring catchphrase in which he pretended to have heart attacks, usually accompanied by the line referring to the character's deceased wife. And, in fact, a great irony happened because Red Fox died of a heart attack on October 11th of 1991 at 68 years old during rehearsals for the series. During this episode, colleagues initially thought he was just doing his famous prank of the heart attack bit, since Fred Sanford had repeated it so many times until they realized it was real.
I'm dying. You hear that, Elizabeth? I'm coming to join you, honey. Oh.
He was helped, but according to some information, he died at the scene. His castmates were devastated and a tribute was paid to the actor. The series later continued. Spanish magician Arsenio Puro, known for having been a semi-finalist on Got Talent España in 2019, died during a live performance in Madrid. He was performing at Sala Houdini, a venue where he had worked for about 25 years and where he was much loved by the public. During the show, Arsenio felt ill and fainted on stage, but at first, the audience believed the fall was part of the act, since the artist was known for his humor and for inserting comedic moments into his performances. Two police officers who were in the audience realized something was wrong and went up on stage to try to revive him, performing cardiopulmonary resuscitation maneuvers until the paramedics arrived. He was quickly taken to the hospital, but unfortunately, he did not survive the heart attack he suffered during the performance. News of Arsenio Puro's death moved both colleagues and fans, who remembered him as a talented, charismatic artist passionate about magic, whose life ended precisely while doing what he loved most. In January of 2022, Argentine journalist Carlos Ferrara, a reporter for Channel 9, fainted live during an on-site segment he was doing. Live, in the context of the newscast, Carlos Ferrara was going live in front of Teatro Colón in Buenos Aires, covering the crowd in line for COVID-19 testing on a very hot day. The temperature was very high, and he said he was having trouble breathing, that he was short of breath. At a certain moment, already in the middle of the broadcast, he addressed the studio anchor, Claudio Perez, apologizing and then losing consciousness shortly thereafter.
Cerrame. ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? No. Por favor. Bueno, ¿tuvo alguna dificultad, Carlos?
He was treated on site by emergency service staff, taken to a hospital for exams, including a CT scan, and serious complications were ruled out. Romo de Toledo Zandona became known for the episode of his live death during a radio interview in 2014. Romo de Toledo Zandona was described as a spiritist philosopher, a thinker connected to spiritist doctrine. The episode took place on February 27th of 2014. While speaking in the studio, Zandona said something like, "Boy, I am disappearing." Shortly after that moment, he suffered a sudden illness, and reports say that he disincarnated, an expression used in spiritist circles for death. Witnesses and participants in the program said that he was very comfortable, happy, talking about what he believed, speaking with conviction about spirituality. Regarding the official medical cause, it is not possible to find reliable public documentation indicating a medical report confirming what actually occurred, whether it was cardiac arrest, a stroke, or another physical condition. In spiritist sources, the narrative is mainly presented as a peaceful disconnection, without visible suffering, occurring serenely. Tommy Cooper was a comedian and magician who was very successful on television during the 70s and 80s. He specialized in magic tricks that seemed to fail, which he managed to turn into comedy. That made his show very famous. Despite being very successful, Tommy Cooper faced many problems with alcohol and cigarettes, as well as having a very unhealthy lifestyle. These habits contributed to his death. On an ordinary day, Tommy was doing a live performance for television when, suddenly, at the beginning of the program, he fell next to the stage assistant. Everyone started laughing, not knowing that, at that moment, he was having a heart attack. People thought that it was part of the show, since he often included similar bits, but it was not an act. After he lay on the floor for about 27 seconds, the screen went black and the program went off the air. There were approximately 2 minutes of black screen until a commercial was shown, and afterward, the standard television programming resumed. Tommy was taken to the hospital, already lifeless. Hours later, the television channel reported his death. Brooke Graham, a KUTV reporter in Salt Lake City, fainted live during a report at the ski resort in a case that happened in December of 2013. She was recording a segment about cross-country skiing on the slopes of Utah, speaking with an instructor, when, suddenly, she began to feel dizzy and fell to the ground. After a few moments on the ground, Brooke came back, smiled, got up, and continued the report, saying that it seemed she had slipped and fallen, to reintroduce the segment back to the studio. She later commented that what triggered the fainting was the combination of high altitude, intense cold, and the fact that she was already feeling unwell that morning. The Brazilian gospel singer Pedro Henrique Silva de Jesus, known as Pedro Henrique, died at 30 years old on December 13th of 2023 during a performance in Feira de Santana, Bahia, Brazil. The artist suffered a massive heart attack while praising God on stage, and the moment was broadcast live on the internet. His death caused great commotion in the gospel music scene, with several artists expressing sorrow and paying tribute to the singer. Pedro Henrique left his wife, Suilan Barreto, whom he had been married to since 2018, and a daughter, Zoe, born in 2023. Don't forget to subscribe so you can watch more videos like this.